Yeah, Paul, listen, first of all, thanks for having us on, man. I'm a big fan, a longtime fan. You've been great for sports, man. So appreciate you being on and this has been an epic journey and we are it's beyond speechless about having the opportunity to coach here at Kentucky.
I mean, I know certainly because of your connection to the school, and we all know that, you had to have an interest when you heard the news a week, almost 2 weeks ago now, that Coach was leaving to go to Arkansas. Not to go through that minute to minute, but just take us through for a couple of days there as you watched from a distance, and suddenly you found yourself at the center of the storm.
Yeah, so uh, on Saturday morning at the Final Four, I walked into the lounge at the hotel, and Cal and Tubby were sitting there talking. And so both of those coaches have been incredibly gracious to me throughout my career. I have so much love in my heart for both of them. And so it was also fun to corner two of the great coaches to coach at the University of Kentucky, my alma mater. So I literally walked up to them, sat down, and fanboyed a picture. So we have a picture of the three of us, and actually had a chance to talk to both of them and just share my gratitude for their stewardship at the University of Kentucky and my appreciation that this was a job that very few people in the world understood how challenging it was, and just told them how much I love them. And so 24 hours later, and I think honestly, the three of us were sitting there, and not one of us, I'm guessing, had any concept of the possibility of what would ensue over the next 24 hours and 96 hours. But that moment will be really special to me because the tradition at Kentucky, it's tying the generations together, generation to generation, that I think is one of the things that sets us apart. And certainly every single coach, uh, from Cal to Tubby to Coach P to Joe B, and then every single player from all those generations and before is really the strength of this program.
And just to speed the clock up a little bit, and then at some point you did get the call. So from the moment your phone rang, tell us what happened.
Well, not a lot. Mitch called and he said, Mark, this is Mitch Barnhart, and I'd like to talk to you about and I was like, yes, I'm coming. And he said, well, we're not sure we want you yet. Let's have a conversation. And that's not exactly how it happened in real time, but that's how it happened in my heart for sure.
And listen, everybody was following this. This wasn't a minor event, and you as a UK man was following it closer. But at that moment, I mean, you've got to tell someone, don't you?
Yeah, so Mitch was incredibly generous. So we kind of went through the very thorough but very quick interview process in terms of the magnitude of the opportunity, and then Mitch gave me a little bit of time to gather. I have four daughters that are like everything to Leanna and I, and they're all kind of pursuing their own great adventures right now. So we had a couple hours to gather everybody from their respective locations and meet together as a family with Leanne, and everybody got to put in their 2 cents. And each of the girls had their own heavy opinion, and but it was a clearly unanimous decision that this is what we would do. I mean, in a million years, we would never walk away from this opportunity.
And Coach, I mean, we're everybody's watching it in real time, and there was one of shock, uh, but that shock did not last very long. It was fascinating to watch. I think it was Thursday night. By the time Friday afternoon came around, this fan base had coalesced
Mm.
around you in just a remarkable way. I realize you were probably too busy to be watching it in real time on social media like those of us who have very little to do, but it did happen. And by the time you got to Lexington, they were ready for a coronation.
Yeah, it's interesting because you talk about who's qualified to be the head coach at the University of Kentucky. Okay. And if you ask me or any former player and anybody in the fan base, you would say, well, they better have at least 5 national championships under their belt because that's what this job is. And so clearly, that's not on my resume. Um, and so I think there is just that going through the process. It's a process that the University of Kentucky hasn't gone through in 15 years. And so that was it was a really important part of the state and Kentucky fans everywhere to kind of like digest what was happening. And then, you just showed the video of our press conference, if you can call it that. I've never seen anything like that in the history of sports anywhere in the world. And that really had very little to do with me. That was BBN, that was Big Blue Nation, that was the Kentucky Faithful getting together and telling the world just how important and relevant and massive this program is. It was all of BBN getting together and saying, this is our team in a way that doesn't exist at any other college program. And it was brilliant. And the opportunity to do that with my teammates and every single one of the fans in there and the 100,000 fans that were watching live was incredibly special. And it's just a testament to what this job is all about. That this team is not mine. It's not even our players fully. This team is the state of Kentucky's and BBN's, and that makes it really special.
Uh, that moment, I realize in life we're always asked, no matter what we do, like, what's the moment? I can't. You've tried to describe it, but as long as you live, I hope you have more moments like that, winning championships. But it's hard to imagine anything like that as you're walking in there. I'm sure you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, on Friday morning, Mitch said, you know what, we're going to do this. And he was pretty fired up. And he's like, we're going to do this in Rupp. We're going to do it in Rupp. I'm telling you. And so, it's kind of this idea of throwing a party and wondering if anybody's going to show up. And you don't ask that question here. You don't ask that question here with Big Blue Nation and how they feel about their program. And so it was a moment. I'll tell you, people talk about this all the time, and we see the footage of me walking off of the bus exactly the same way we did 27 years ago. Carrying the trophy with players from every generation of Kentucky basketball greats. And that was incredibly special. But even maybe more special to me was getting on the bus. So when I first got on the bus, before we drove in, every seat was filled with the greatest, many of the Kentucky greats. I got on in like the third row. It's Jack Givens. I mean, come on. You talk about one of the great ambassadors in the history of Kentucky basketball and his legendary stature, and kind of walking back and getting to say hello to every one of these former great players. And in the back of the bus was my 96 team gathered together. It was so special to see all those faces and know that we're all doing this together. And then it was really brilliant too. As I walked back, every single one of those players threatened me that if we don't put up banners soon, they're coming for me. And that's the way this is supposed to be.
We're talking to Mark Pope, the head coach at the University of Kentucky. And, Coach, you talked about what the players were saying. And I realize when you're the center of attention, you can't quite appreciate the fans, but we've heard from them, and I know you've seen and heard from them since then because you've been out and about meeting various people, especially over the weekend. But what did it mean to you and your family to see the look? I mean, it was like, not to talk about the past, but it felt like a rebirth of this program with somebody who had won a championship and who had been through it at the helm.
I think mostly humbling. Um, when you're kind of at the epicenter of that, you can't help but understand the magnitude of what this program means to each one of these fans and the significance it has in their hearts. And so I think there's this sense that you just recognize the responsibility of being a great steward of Kentucky's basketball team and of these fans basketball team. And frankly, it was on a personal family sense, it was probably the greatest display of Southern hospitality in the history of the world. My girls, I have four daughters, and they're just my whole heart, and for them to be able to walk in and just be embraced by Big Blue Nation was super special. And I love this state. I love the people of this state. I love this program so much. And you would think it would be impossible to feel that more deeply, but I certainly do now. And so the responsibility that comes with that, to help grow on the incredible success we've had and get to number 9 as quickly as possible is real. And we want to do that for Big Blue Nation and for this state.
Coach, we'll leave it there because you've got serious work to do and not
Yeah.
talk. Coach, many, many thanks for coming here and sharing your thoughts, and we can't wait to see you in the future.
Paul, thank you so much. And listen, man, like I love sports, and thank you for being such a great ambassador covering sports. Like I'm really grateful.